Hi everyone. Today we're talking about how to get your organization ISO 27001 certified. Where do you purchase these standards from? And what is the complete process of getting the certification? To begin with, you'll have to first download the ISO standards. If you are watching this video from India, there's a very good website, which is government website called Standards BIS. I'll provide the link of this website in the description box below. But the thing is, you'll have to first register your company. Once you register your company, an account will be created for you. You can then download the PDF form of the ISO standards. You can search for it as how I did it in this window. You can search for it and then make the payment before you download the standards. Now, once you download, this is what the PDF looks like.
The certification process includes many steps. Let us discuss each of the steps. First is the planning, where you create a project plan. Identify who within the organization will oversee the process. You set the expectations right. You get the buy-in from the company leadership because in getting a company ISO 27000, there's a lot of cost involved. So it is very important for you to get the buy-in from your company leadership. Then you'll have to hire a ISO 27001 consultant who will help you navigate the process. After which comes the second stage, which is defining the scope of the ISMS. You need to determine exactly what kind of information you need to protect in your organization. And based on that, you will define the scope. Like for some companies, the scope of the ISMS includes their entire organization. For others, it could include only a specific department or a system. The third stage is a very important stage. Here, you will be conducting a risk assessment and a gap analysis. A formal risk assessment process that outlines all the threats to your IT infrastructure and prescribes the right remediation measures should be documented. You'll have to evaluate and prioritize the risks. The fourth step is implementing controls, policies, and having proper documentation. Comprehensive documentation that outlines your organization's process, policies, SOPs in accordance with the standard has to be maintained. You'll have to draft new policies if you don't have any policies in place. For example, the BCP policy or the DR policy or the asset management policy or the incident management policy. If there's no such policy in place, then you'll have to start preparing those policies, and based on that, you will have to ask the team to prepare a process and the SOP documents accordingly. The next stage is conducting awareness and training. You'll have to give a formal training to all your employees on the ISMS policies once the policies have been drafted and documented. Okay, you'll have to give them the training on their responsibilities and the security best practices that they will have to follow while they are working in the organization. This has to be documented because when the audit happens, the auditor will ask you to show the artifacts. So what would be the artifacts? The artifacts could be your training emails, or it could be a training completion email from the employees, or a meeting invite where you have sent an invite, a recorded invitation saying that the security awareness training is being conducted, or these days we also have security awareness training tools in some of the organizations. The next stage is monitoring and reviewing the ISMS. This stage ensures that your information security practices remain effective, compliant, and continuously improving. So you have the management has to make sure that whatever the policies have been implemented are actually being followed and they are being effective in the organization. After which there is the seventh stage, which is called the management review. On a periodic basis, the management review has to be conducted to assess the effectiveness of the new processes and determine whether they align with the organization goals and the ISO standard requirements. The eighth step is conducting internal audit. Before the actual certification audit, the organization must mandatorily undergo or conduct an internal audit to assess their readiness. So it is just a readiness check, but it would be like a proper audit. If the internal audit identifies any non-conformatives or any areas for improvement, it has to be documented. So once the internal audit has been conducted, you have the findings, you start working on the corrective actions. The next stage is certification audit by an accredited body. The third-party auditor from an accredited certification body will conduct an external audit to verify that your organization meets all the security requirements of the ISO standards. So once the audit is conducted, he will give you the findings. If there are no findings, then he will certify your organization. If your organization does not meet the requirements of ISO standard, you will get a report which will list all the findings. They will provide you a time frame of 30 to 45 days to fix those findings. And once you fix those findings, they would come back and evaluate the findings or conduct the audit on those parameters again. They will check whether the findings are being fixed, a corrective action has been taken. I will explain about the certification process in detail in my upcoming videos. Typically, ISO 27001 certificate is valid for 3 years. The certification body does the surveillance audit, usually annually, to check if you're complying with all the applicable requirements. The first year will be the surveillance audit, and then the second year will again be a surveillance audit, and the third year will be a recertification audit. You don't have to worry much about this for now. I'll explain in detail about what a surveillance audit is, how it is performed, and the recertification audit, and how actually an audit is conducted in my upcoming videos. Let me explain you about the audit stages. A formal ISO 27001 audit happens in two stages. Stage 1, where the ISMS design review is done, and stage 2, where the actual certification is being performed. In stage 1, review of ISMS documentation to make sure policies and procedures are properly designed are checked. At this stage, your auditor will make sure that your documentation is compliant with the ISO 27000 ISMS requirements, which are listed in the clauses 4 to 10. They will also point out any non-conformatives or any opportunities to improve in your ISMS. Once you have implemented any suggested changes, you're ready for the stage 2 audit. Stage 2, which is called the certification audit. This is where your auditor will complete a detailed assessment to determine whether your organization satisfies the requirements of ISO 27001. And once he verifies it, he will provide you the certification. I will talk about all these things in detail in the upcoming videos too. For more such information on ISO standard, stay tuned to my channel. Thank you.